Have you ever wondered whether you are truly seeing the world as it is, or only the version your mind allows you to see? Before you answer, consider this. Two people can stand in the same room, experience the same moment, and walk away with completely different realities. One feels safe, the other feels threatened. One feels inspired, the other feels empty. The room did not change. The moment did not change, something else did. That something is the mind, quietly filtering reality long before you are aware it is happening. From the instant light touches your eyes or sound reaches your ears, reality is already being altered. Your senses do not deliver the world directly to you. They translate it, compress it, and simplify it. The brain removes details, fills gaps, and guesses what should be there. What you experience is not raw reality, but a constructed version designed for survival. This construction happens so fast that it feels seamless. You rarely notice the editing process. You simply trust what you see and feel. The mind does not ask, what is true? First, it asks, what is useful? It prioritizes safety, familiarity, and meaning over accuracy. This is why fear can make shadows feel alive, and love can make flaws disappear. Your emotions act like color filters placed over perception. When you are anxious, the world looks sharper and more threatening. When you are calm, it feels softer and more open. Reality changes, not because the world shifts, but because your internal state does. Memory plays a powerful role in this filtering. Every experience you have ever had leaves an imprint. These imprints quietly guide how new information is interpreted. A past betrayal can turn neutral behavior into suspicion. A childhood encouragement can turn challenge into excitement. The present moment is never experienced alone. It arrives carrying the weight of the past. You are not just seeing what is happening now, you are seeing what it reminds you of. Beliefs are another invisible lens. If you believe the world is dangerous, your mind scans constantly for threats. If you believe people are kind, you notice gestures of warmth. These beliefs feel like conclusions drawn from experience, but often they are stories built from a few intense moments. Once formed, they shape what you notice and what you ignore. Evidence that supports them feels obvious. Evidence that challenges them feels invisible or suspicious. Language itself filters reality. Words do not just describe experiences, they frame them. Calling something a failure creates a different emotional response than calling it a lesson. Labeling a feeling as weakness changes how it is handled. Once you name an experience, the name begins to define it. The richness of reality is compressed into categories. This makes life manageable, but it also limits it. The mind is especially skilled at protecting identity. It filters reality in ways that preserve the story you tell about yourself. If you see yourself as strong, you minimize moments of vulnerability. If you see yourself as broken, you overlook moments of resilience. This protection happens automatically. Challenging information creates discomfort, so the mind reshapes it. Reality bends to maintain coherence, even at the cost of truth. Trauma intensifies this filtering. When the nervous system has learned that the world is unsafe, perception becomes hypervigilant. Neutral events are scanned for danger. Silence feels threatening. Ambiguity feels unbearable. The mind is not broken in these moments. It is doing exactly what it learned to do. But the cost is that reality becomes smaller, tighter, and heavier than it truly is. Even time is filtered by the mind. Moments of fear stretch endlessly. Moments of joy vanish too quickly. Memory rearranges time further, exaggerating pain and softening pleasure, or sometimes the opposite. You do not remember events as they happened. You remember them as your mind encoded them. Over time, these memories feel like facts. They quietly shape how you anticipate the future. Social conditioning adds another layer. Culture teaches you what to value, what to fear, and what to ignore. It tells you what success looks like and what failure means. These messages seep into perception. You begin judging your life through standards you never consciously chose. Reality becomes a comparison instead of an experience. Satisfaction fades, even when nothing is objectively wrong. Technology amplifies mental filtering. Algorithms feed you content aligned with your existing beliefs and emotions. Over time, your version of reality becomes narrower. You begin assuming that what you see is what exists. Dissent feels rare or hostile. The mind mistakes repetition for truth. Reality becomes an echo chamber shaped by attention. Despite all this, the mind is not an enemy. It filters reality because unfiltered reality would be overwhelming. The problem arises when we forget that filtering is happening. We mistake interpretation for fact. We defend perceptions as if they are reality itself. Conflict often arises not because of events, but because of competing filters colliding. Moments of stillness reveal this truth. In silence, perception softens. The mind relaxes its grip on interpretation. Sensations feel more direct. Thoughts slow down. You begin noticing how much commentary usually surrounds experience. Silence does not change the world. It changes how much of the mind stands between you and it. Meditation, reflection, and deep presence do something similar. They create space between perception and reaction. In that space, you notice the filter instead of being trapped inside it. A thought appears, but you do not immediately believe it. An emotion arises, but it does not define the moment. Reality feels wider. This awareness can be unsettling. If perception is filtered, then certainty becomes fragile. You realize that many of your strongest opinions are shaped by inner states rather than objective truth. This realization can feel like losing solid ground, but it is also liberating. If perception is constructed, it can be softened, it can be questioned, it can evolve. Understanding mental filtering does not mean reality is meaningless. It means meaning is participatory. You are not a passive observer. You are a co-creator of experience. This gives you responsibility, but also power. You cannot control the world completely, but you can influence how you meet it. Compassion grows from this understanding. When you realize others are also seeing through filters shaped by pain, fear, and belief, judgment softens. Disagreement becomes less personal. You see that conflict often arises from different internal worlds colliding, not from evil or ignorance. This awareness humanizes everyone involved. Even suffering feels different when seen through this lens. Pain is real, but the story around it can amplify or soften it. Two people can experience the same loss and carry it differently. One is consumed by meaninglessness. The other finds depth and connection. The event is the same. The filter shapes the experience. Love, too, is filtered. We do not fall in love with people as they are, but as we perceive them. Projection, hope, and memory all play a role. This does not make love false. It makes it human. Understanding this can deepen relationships by bringing curiosity instead of expectation. As awareness grows, perception becomes less rigid. You notice when the mind is tightening reality around fear or scarcity. You notice when old stories are driving present reactions. This noticing does not eliminate filtering, but it loosens its grip. Reality feels less suffocating. Possibility returns. You begin to experience moments without heavy interpretation. A sound is just a sound. A sensation is just a sensation. These moments feel simple, but deeply alive. They remind you that beneath all mental filters, there is raw experience waiting. This is not an abstract idea. It is accessible, moment by moment. Reality is not entirely created by the mind, but it is always encountered through it. There is no experience without perception. The question is not whether reality is filtered, but how tightly you cling to the filter. When you loosen it, life feels less like a battle and more like a conversation. You may never see reality as it is in some absolute sense, but you can see more gently, more honestly, and more openly. You can learn to question the stories that narrow your world. You can allow moments to be felt before they are judged. Perhaps the most touching realization is this. Much of what has hurt you was not just what happened, but how it was filtered. And much of what can heal you lies not in changing the world, but in softening the lens through which you meet it. Reality may be filtered by the mind, but awareness gives you the choice to look beyond the filter, even if only for a moment.